Okay. I've been playing this quite a bit, at least on stream. I caught somebody in the chat saying, "If do I have a Twitter?" Yes, it says it on the stream. I have that posted. Twitter at ChessNetwork, or tweet at ChessNetwork is what's written there. So Queen's Gambit declined. Let's go here. This is so far so good. Opponent has their dark square bishop outside of their pawn chain. Do I play Queen B3? Pressure on this guy? Or do I say, you know what? Who cares? Who cares about the pressure the bishop has on my knight? What else? I might want to consider just queen check. And I like it enough to do it. Main reason for this, I know I'm not winning a piece, but because I know the knight has to block here, that's the only way to save material. But the main point of it is to obstruct this c-pawn. I don't know if I could really make it work, but I'm going to try to. So, now what? Well, I don't have any choice. Now what? Yeah, let's think hard about that one. Let's think hard about that one. Yeah, do I want to capture, block, move my king? Sure. Okay, so the knight's pinned, but just temporarily. So now what? I think I chop and then follow up with bishop here. Unless one day I'll be concerned with the bishop putting pressure on my knight. I don't know if that's really the case. So let's chop here first, see how black will recapture, and only then will I decide what I want to do next. So decision time, wherever there's a possibility for a change in the structure, that right there. Red flag. Critical moment. Okay, this is the structure that we're hit with. I might want to consider this. This is the weakest pawn that I have, and I could exchange it if I really want to for this healthier d5 pawn for black. Pawn push. Keeping in mind, however, that I am not yet castled, needing 2 moves before I'm fully developed. Bishop here or c4 has my attention. If I'm not careful, maybe a6, b5 could be played, and with that type of structure, I can't get this move in. I think I should do it now before I lose the right to do it. This knight is pinned, and I think if a question is thrown to my bishop, I'm just going to chop this knight up, not waste any time with retreating, and focus most of my attention on just getting development in. What I would love to have here is just my king castled, and this is exactly what I was talking about. So if I back up and try and continue to be a pest on this diagonal, try and maintain this pin, g5, bishop back, the knight could be playing here, hitting my bishop, maybe threatening to come here. Okay, maybe it's quite all right, but I just don't even want to have to deal with it. Those words that I just shared right there is another way you could interpret it is I'm just being a lazy calculator. I just don't want to deal with it. It's kind of like, you know, I just don't want to calculate it all. Let's just do something. Okay, now apparently black was not wanting to give this pawn up. I think capturing with the queen was all right, and if I did take this pawn, the knight could come back, and I think it'd be uncomfortable for me to defend that pawn. I could defend it once, you could hit it again with a rook. So anyhow, I think I'm quite all right now. Structural damage. Take on this square. Let's go for it. Take on this square and then play queen to c4 with tempo, and then get castled. If there's pressure on my knight, I defend with my bishop. Bishop here. Just want to castle. There might be a queen check on a5. I have no choice if that move is played. I got to exchange queens, but that's okay. I'm not really too concerned about trying to exploit this kingside castled position. I just want to complete my development. Another idea, you don't have to just always be going right after your opponent's king. I gotta take here. So don't always just be in this, oh, I gotta attack. No, there's other approaches that you could be having, positional approaches. One where you're just putting pressure on these queenside pawns. And that's what has a lot of my attention right now. Should I be concerned about giving up my light square bishop? I should. I don't want to give that guy up. So, might I want to not castle? I was talking about it for so much. I just want to castle. And then, you know, everything's going to be safe. But might my king be quite alright on the d2 square? The answer to that is no. If I was able to stop this c5 break, then maybe it would be okay. Hang on. Well, this could be a little bit scary. I still want to allow for the possibility to play king d2 because that's a good spot. If I'm able to retain this d4 on the board, this d4 pawn on the board, it's going to act as a nice shelter for my king on the d file, and I'm not having to shoo him away all the way over here on g1. Why not have him on d2? King d2. If for a second I thought b6 and then c5 could be played, but keep in mind what b6 does and does not do. It does prepare c5. It does not control a6, which I could make use of right away and then take that pawn. So in short, I could play this move now. As far as I can tell, it's going to be okay. I could have also considered maybe rook to c5. Maybe there's just no rush with such a move. But I have this available. I think it's a good idea to be running with right now. So let's do it. Because it comes with tempo. It's looking to follow up with just doubling on the c file. And all of a sudden it starts to become quite uncomfortable for this knight to even move, because it would be coming at the cost of a c pawn. And probably then some. So let's get this in. b6, I'll just take the two minor pieces for the rook. What else? I might be quite alright with allowing bishop takes knight and messing up my pawn structure. I'm going to put immediate pressure on this knight. I'm okay with having doubled f pawns. This is a very valuable piece. Maybe one of the best placed pieces for black right now is this bishop. In the center, watching over this knight, pressure on my knight, on my kingside pawn, and I'd really like to get rid of this bishop. And I also want to just get out of this nonsense right here, and this has some of my attention because of knight to e5 stuff. I want to play here. If bishop takes pawn, that runs into a pin, so knight here is right around the corner. Or I guess I could consider knight h4 with f3 ideas, eyeing this f5 square. This is a weak point. Let's back up. If pawn push, well, c6, c7, some issues with that, without a doubt. Might have to give up my bishop for the knight. If b5, bishop back, knight a5, just have to say, so what with that? Okay, the bishop gets taken for the knight. And also, I think this as well. Let's just get light square bishops off. Now I really am, without the light square bishops on the board, forget about the knight coming to maybe one of these two, which I was thinking about at one point. I would really love to have him right here, so let's get there. Extremely inconvenient to deal with the knight on this f5 square, not just because it hits this pawn, but there's even possibilities for back rank mates. I'm on the rook as well. And also there's forks, so that's happens quite easily if the knight is in a good spot like that. So let's get some. I could probably just take this knight real soon, and let's take this. Just crashing through at this point. Watch out for the trickiness. No trickiness. King here. and then get these pawns going a bit. Put pressure on this knight. King up and then pawn push. Okay, time pressure. Time pressure, time pressure. No time. Okay, good game. Good game, Ed. Let's back up and flip this board and see if we can take a thing or two. Gotta go as far as saying a third thing. Is there a third ting? A third ting. A third ting to be taking away from this. I am not so sure about the bishop's decision to play to b4. So this definitely has my attention right here. Because of, I think maybe queen a4 forcing this knight to obstruct the c pawn turns out to be pretty good. Is there something better you can be doing right here? Maybe this is another thing. Don't take my knight just yet. He's not going to go anywhere. And what else? I mean, okay, the pawns are doubled. They'll be undoubled by 4. So I don't know about the decision to bring the bishop out. Maybe just something a bit more solid, like bishop e7. Or another idea is anticipating maybe a queen b3 move. Maybe you could be playing c6 so as to meet queen b3 with queen to b6. So you could look into that one as well. How about that? c6 instead of bishop out or bishop to e7. But I'm really liking the c6 move right here to have a good reaction to queen b3, queen b6. So just a quick point right there. Because this is the structure we're dealt with. I think you definitely have to take with the queen, and if pawn takes, you bring the knight back and then try and recapture it. But I don't know. I think okay, you're having to come up with some difficult choices here, but maybe it starts not to be so or as difficult if the bishop b4 move isn't played. So maybe those other ideas are worth considering. c6, I think, gets my #1 vote. I'm not saying it's best. I think for me at least, I'm much more comfortable with having a good reaction to an eventual queen b3 move, and it's also just securing that pawn as well on d5. So just some quick things. Keep in mind the things that I'm sharing. Again, I'm not just directing them at my opponent, just kind of speaking to those that are tuned in at the moment. I like to try my best to relay it in a way where even if you're super new to the game, you can maybe be understanding.